A lot of people have worries that they might run out of money, or they're not necessarily totally aware of the position that they're in.
Hello, I'm down at Arlington Business Park with the return of Ben Spence from Gallimore Wealth Management. Thanks for joining me again today, Ben.
No worries.
After the last video, we got a great response. We wanted to dive into a little bit more about what Ben does for his clients. So Ben, what's a typical client scenario that you come across and how can you help with it?
Yeah, so a typical client scenario that we see is mainly around retirement planning, to be fair. So a lot of people have worries that they might run out of money, or they're not necessarily totally aware of the position that they're in.
Okay.
So a typical client that may come to us for assistance is someone that has multiple pension pots.
Right.
So they might have had 3, 4, 5 jobs in the past. They've built a pension at each of those jobs, and then when they leave those jobs, they're kind of left to their own accord. So what we can do is come in and review those pensions to say, right, this is exactly what you've got,
yeah.
And these are the options on what you might want to do going forward. And typically what a client may do is consolidate those pots into one, so that it's a lot easier to administer and a lot easier to kind of manage. And then when they get to retirement as well, it's a lot easier to get their money back out.
So it's fair to say if people have had multiple jobs, they might not know exactly what pension plans they're on, and you can research that and consolidate and then manage it going forward. Is probably the
that's a good summary of what we do. And what a lot of people are not aware of is that when you leave an employer and you have a pension pot, that pension's still invested in some way, shape or form. So if you're not looking after it, you're not managing it, then potentially it's not working as effectively as it could be. So that's where we come in, review them, then we can look at, like I said, consolidating them and then managing them going forward, so that hopefully the returns are a little bit better going forward as well.
Brilliant, yeah, sounds amazing. Next question from me, I deal a lot with local business owners, and most of them have accountants and might have a bookkeeper, but don't really discuss financial advisors. I mean, what sort of value can you bring to them in terms of your business? Yeah,
so we work with a lot of local business owners, a lot of limited company owners, and a lot of what we do for them is around saving tax.
Okay.
So if a company's building up profits within an account, it's about asking the question and looking at ways in which they can extract that from the business as tax efficiently as possible.
Sounds like a dream to be
fair. Yeah, so there are ways that people might not necessarily be aware of, whereby, for instance, a pension is a great way of doing that. So you can remove money from the company account through a pension, and it saves you corporation tax as well.
Brilliant.
So it's kind of a double-edged benefit, whereby money is getting out of the company into a personal savings account that's hopefully growing for later life, but it's also saving you tax in the meantime.
I deal a lot with clients who are either downsizing or possibly selling investment properties. How are you best placed to assist those type of people?
Yeah, I mean they're great clients for us to help as well, because there's a lot of people that we work with that maybe build up surplus amounts of cash in the bank, and then they're looking at ways in which they can make that cash work a little bit harder. So although interest rates are rising a little bit at the moment, it's still far outpaced by inflation. So what that means is it's not necessarily a good thing to hold surplus amounts of cash in a bank account that's not returning you the rate of inflation, basically. So we come in and again we give options to people to look at ways in which they can make that cash work a little bit harder. They might have certain goals that they want to reach, so we can make sure that that's all packaged within the advice to say that, right, let's look at the options. Usually that involves some form of investment, but let's try and grow that money as much as possible, so that you can reach those targets, and you can hopefully reach those targets a little bit earlier as well.
Ben, thanks once again for taking the time to speak to me. Any final comments from yourself?
Yeah, so I guess in summary, it's been a challenging year for most people. Obviously the world economy is not in the best place at the moment. Lots going on, lots affecting different things, but it's about, for me, taking advice, making sure that if you've got any queries, you've got any concerns with either what you've currently got in place or what you might not have in place, understanding your options, making sure you're absolutely aware of what you've got, what that might provide you with, and our advice can help with providing that clear picture to people, and it's always just worth a conversation. You never know what that might lead to and what benefits that may bring.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, thanks again for your time. All of Ben's contact details will be in the description. Feel free to reach out to him. It's mobile, Instagram, email, best ways to get hold of you, isn't it?
Yeah, anyway, we're on everything, so yeah, any way possible really.
Lovely. Well, until next time, thanks very much
Brilliant.
for your time.
Cheers, Ryan.